Okay, so Graviteam just released their most recent DLC. It's called Under the Cruel Star. And when I saw the name of that title, I was like, holy shit, that is just the most nightmarish name for a Graviteam DLC campaign that I can think of. I mean, that just sounds ominous. It sounds like just, it's good, it's fitting. So we'll go ahead and check out the campaign. Here are the two new scenarios included with the DLC. We're going to play the Soviet side over here, and this operation is part of the larger Operation Star, which was a Soviet offensive in early 1943 after Stalingrad, when the Wehrmacht 6th Army was encircled. And the offensive was the Soviet plan to take back Kursk and Kharkov, I believe. And we'll just go ahead and we'll check this out. Okay, so we have these we're obviously on the offensive here. There's these dots are all held by the Wehrmacht, and the Soviets hold no positions. So we're going to try to take these two positions first. Just looking at our map, we have 3 battle groups on the southern portion of the map, and I feel pretty confident that we can go ahead and get an early start and take this objective. So I'm going to go ahead and move this battle group here, and we'll attack with these 2 battle groups and also this battle group. I want to go all out and just get that objective as soon as possible. This objective up here, I'm not as confident in, just because all we have is this 1 infantry battle group. So I'm going to move him up just to hold this position so we can move these supply battalions forward. But I don't want to attack just yet. So we'll hold them back. We'll move up this group. Move this group down here. I just like to clear out the side of the map. And before I get started, I want to go ahead and check on our battle groups. Let's see. This is part of the 11th Cavalry Division. 11th Cavalry. 11th Cavalry. I want to go ahead and see if I can give them any reinforcements, because I really want these battle groups to be as reinforced as possible when I attack, because I really want to get that objective on the first turn. Scroll. Here's the 11th Cavalry Division. These platoons actually have the option for tanks, so I'll right-click here. I could give them tanks. No, let's hold back on the tanks. I want to fill the situation out a little more. They can get support units, though, and these are our support units we have available to call up from reserve. Let's go ahead and call in a mortar platoon to be part of this battle group. And I'm not really concerned about anti-tank guns just yet. I don't want to throw everything into the mix and not know what I'm facing, so we'll just go with the support mortar for now. Alright, so here's our first turn. We're going to go ahead and attack. One thing you might want to take note of, if you're not really familiar with Graviteam, you'll see these black squares, these semi-transparent black squares on these combat boxes. And that just means that during combat, you will not be able to transfer possession of these squares. So like, let's say that all 3 of my battle groups moved to this square and we destroyed all the Wehrmacht infantry in this area, and I had all 3 of my battle groups stationed here. It wouldn't matter. The Wehrmacht would still retain possession. So the only squares up for grab in this scenario are going to be this one, and this one. And I feel pretty confident we're going to be able to take this first major objective. So let's go ahead. All right, so looking at our tactical map, this is where the major objective was. So I'm going to try to take possession of this square. And honestly, right now, I'm not even going to focus on these squares at all. And you'll see these darkened squares right here. So the Wehrmacht isn't going to be able to take these from me. So I'm just going to probably leave a defense detachment right here, and then do just a major assault up into this little village right here to try to capture that objective. We'll go ahead and let's see. We'll make the first company our defense platoon. Actually, let's make them our attacking platoon because they're already in position to advance. Now, there is a lot of open area here, so I hope they don't have a lot of support weapons to mow us down as we advance across this open field, but we'll find that out soon enough. Let's go over to the second company, and if you just control click, you can select all of these units. You'll see them highlighted in purple. I just continue to control click, and I've got all the units selected. The only position I really am worried about holding is this one right here, Sofkaz, and we'll go ahead and leave these troops in reserve. I guess I'll go ahead and line them out. One platoon right here in the woods. Prime arty target right there. That's where I'd go if I was the AI. Select this platoon. We'll hold them back down here. There's really, this is a lot of open area, a lot of snow, and I mean, there's not much room for cover. So I'm going to make sure these troops stay concealed, especially this company over here, because I want them to be stationed here for defensive purposes, and if we need to press the attack, I want to have them fresh, be able to be called up fresh from reserves. I don't really want to expose these guys, so I don't want them to fire unless they have to, is what I'm getting at. And we have this infantry platoon right here. We'll place them right here in the open field, right here in the snow, so they have some good visibility. And every single one of these platoons, I want to make sure that they do not fire at will, and they try to stay concealed, because I'm going to go ahead and attack with this company. It's really cool having a winter map. There's only one other winter map for Mias, and I kind of miss Operation Star. That's some old school Graviteam, because it was just nothing but winter maps. You get sick of the winter maps. You get sick of the winter maps when you play Operation Star. They come out with Mias, and you're like, oh yeah, summer map. But then after you play summer maps forever, then you're wishing for winter again. That's just how it goes. So we'll go ahead and normally I would scout. Actually, let's go ahead and scout. We'll go ahead and do a, let's see. We'll send this platoon out on a scouting mission. I am going to have them, we'll go right for the center here. We'll just have them do an attack maneuver. We'll keep them spread out. It's pretty sparse. I don't want them to waste their smoke grenades. Don't want them to go fast. No, that looks about right. Go ahead and do that. We'll hold the rest of these platoons in this company back in case they need to be brought up for reinforcements if we run into a major enemy force, which I'm suspecting we will, just because this is a major objective. So we'll see. Right there, you see the green smoke, which I believe from the Wehrmacht, I think green flares means they're actually beginning a troop movement. So maybe they're not going to stay on the defensive. We'll find out. We're going to run into somebody here soon. We're about to find out who. Like I said, I haven't played this map. I haven't even... I went in as the Soviets earlier just to check out and see what the map looked like before I started recording this, but I have no idea what we're up against. So we'll find out. A lot of people like to really be cautious and scout out everything, but I think most of the time, at least in Graviteam, most of your strategy is done on the operational map rather than the tactical. I mean, if you make smart operational moves, your tactical map's going to be fine. You just issue a few orders and you're okay. And that's funny over there. That was that spot I thought the arty would try to hit, and that's the spot I would go for, but it looks like they're a bit behind where our platoon is, so our platoon's probably safe for now. We'll just keep them sitting there stationary. This is just such a cinematic game. I love the way it looks. You just really get a feel for everything just watching up close. And it's such a hands-off game. You can just issue your orders and just watch everything unfold around you, which is just that's why I've come to love the game. It's fun. It's the scale on it's great. There's really nothing quite like it. We've got another volley of artillery hitting right here. Looks like it's kind of small caliber. And there goes one right in the center. And now they're zeroing in. So these guys are not in for a good time. And the best they can do is just stay hunkered down. It's going to subside for a little bit. I'm surprised this forward group up here hasn't ran into anything yet. And again, basically, looking at the tactical map, we're going to hold this company over here and just I don't want to even use this company. I want to keep them fresh. If this company up here, once these guys do the preliminary scouting, if we run into a strong defensive point, I'm going to send up the rest of the company. And if it's really strong, I'll send this company in as backup. But I'm only focusing on this square right here. That's where the objective point is. That's what we need to capture. Okay, so here's some trenches right in Haminki, and those are some pretty tough trenches. I don't actually know if we're going to be able to take those. Let's go ahead and cancel this advance. And that's a pretty fortified position. That's tough. I think we're going to have to take... I mean, this obviously, with how entrenched that is, we're going to have to use both companies, so... Let's do it. We'll go ahead and do a normal attack line. Move them from sparse to medium spacing. And let's allow them to use smoke. Let's go. We'll start this attack, and we'll wait. Let's wait. We'll wait 3 minutes to bring in our second company. Oh, here's some units right here, actually, that just popped up. Go ahead and let them fire at will. And that will delay our attack with our second company until we can take care of this platoon. And the artillery is really thick right now. So there is an enemy presence over in this area. I really needed that second company to be able to attack Haminsky, because I don't think one company is going to be able to do it on their own. I don't know how concentrated this defense is, however. I'm going to go ahead and let's send them out. Let's attack one platoon. I mean, one thing about Graviteam is you just really get a sense of how bitter and how nightmarish everything is. That's why I said Cruel Star was such a fitting name, because I mean, you just get this sense of dread almost when you play it. I mean, most times when I have to command units to do things, and it's the only game where I actually feel awful about it. It's a game where oftentimes you feel trapped almost, and you know, that's the horror, but also the beauty of the game. That's why I keep coming back to it. Oof, and the Wehrmacht really has this area covered with those support weapons. Really, no, we should not be attacking. They're just gonna keep us pinned. Whew. I'd like to salvage these platoons. If at all possible. We'll keep them hidden. Tell them not to fire. We'll just maintain a defensive posture over on this side. Now, this company is finally approaching the trenches. I don't think we're going to be able to take it. I noticed when I initially loaded the map, you'll see Graviteam gives you a rundown of what happened historically, and the first assault was repulsed by the Wehrmacht, so that's looking like what's going to happen here. Just if I had to guess. Oh, I tell you what, so far there really isn't as much resistance as I thought there'd be from those trenches. Got one soldier pushing up already. It's an orange flare. I haven't played this in a while. I don't know what the orange flare is. I want to say it's they're holding their position or they're considering retreat, but I don't recall for certain. And there's, you know, I'm surprised there's not a whole lot of resistance over on this main objective side where we have that first company pushing up. Got some mortars, especially over here. It's intensifying a little bit. Okay, so here's what's happening tactically. We have this push going for the main objective. It's starting to intensify. I think we might actually have a chance of taking it. At first, I really wasn't sure we'd be able to. Over here, I'm just trying to maintain a static defensive position. There's a lot of support machine guns over in this area, so there's no way I'm going to run this company into that. They're just going to hold back. This platoon weathered artillery barrage, and this platoon is just getting absolutely destroyed. You can see him retreating. Those MGs just opened up on him. Ooh, this is just looking nasty. So this was not the start I wanted to get off to. Both of these companies are getting pretty wrecked. I don't see a lot of anti-tank weaponry. I also don't see any panzers. I think all of these are just support MGs. Let's see. Yeah, that's a mortar. So it's just mortar and MG 42s, 34s. So when we resume this attack on the next turn, we're gonna go ahead and bring in those tank units for support. I really should have run them the first time. I was a little too cautious. Sometimes you just have to be aggressive. I really should have just been aggressive. I don't think this attack is going to fail. Alright, so I'm going to try to salvage what I can. We'll tell all of these troops to fall back. So we were able to salvage some troops. But boy, that was bad. I'm gonna pull a Zukov and just start drinking all the time, because whatever. I think really the key to the Wehrmacht's success on that defensive stand was the fact that they had these support units over in this area, so we couldn't call in our second company to support the attack. There was no way. We knew from the very beginning, seeing those trenches laid out and how heavily fortified that town was, that you weren't going to get that with one company. You basically had one company attacking one fortified company, and we needed at least a 2-to-1 numerical advantage to even have a chance in that attack. So we'll see what happens on the next turn. Alright, so looking at the after-screen combat, you can see the forces with the weighted platoons. We had a 136.8 strength, and the Wehrmacht had a 339.2. So, there's just no way you're going to attack and be successful if you're pitted up against those odds. That was just bad. That's why sometimes scouting is really important. We really should have held off on that attack, but there's nothing we can do about it now. We had 222 men in service at the beginning of the battle, and 58 of those people were casualties. So 30% casualties. That's really bad, but it could have been a lot worse considering how heavily outnumbered we were. It's good that we were able to break off the attack before it fully committed, and a lot more people became casualties. Wehrmacht, 19 casualties. Basically, didn't even put it in them. So we're going to have to come back with some armor. Okay, so we have a routed platoon. Well, not a platoon, actually, a battle group. A whole battle group just gone, wiped out like that. We know this area is heavily fortified. I'm surprised up here, actually, that they didn't try to attack this singled out battle group, but they didn't. So now we're back to square one. And as you can see right here, historically, the 161 Guards fired 2 salvos at Balaki. Cavalry regiment attacked, and the attack failed. They couldn't even reach the approaches to the farmstead, which is, that happened historically. That pretty much happened to us. No big deal. We're going to go in and we're going to take care of this. So after the first turn, enemy has 48 points, and we have 0. We don't have any of the objective points yet. Now, I believe it's a 10-turn campaign, so we've got a lot of time to take those objectives and get the upper hand. So right now we're at 1400 hours, 2 o'clock. The 184th Rifle Division attached to the 6th Guards Cavalry Corps seized height 189 and was moving in the direction of, and that's what you get from Graviteam, just a sentence that stops in the middle of it. No context, no nothing. So yeah, that's just what you get from a lot of times. They're a Ukrainian developer. and panic in the ranks, obviously, after that failed assault. Oh man, I don't even know where to begin. It looks like we might have to shift our focus up here to the north rather than the south. The opposite of what I thought initially, just because these cavalry regiments are pretty much destroyed. So I think we're going to try to take this key point. We have got to take a key point, and we need to go ahead and get one early. So it didn't work on the south. We'll go ahead and put these units on the defensive, and we'll go ahead and we'll try to attack up north. Hopefully, let's see, this is the 294th Regiment, part of the 184th Rifle Division. So let's see if we can find them and see if we can give them some tank support. 184th Rifle Division, let's see, right here. They can't get any support. Oh wait, was it the 294th? Let's see. 294th, so that's these guys right here. They don't have the option of receiving reinforcements in the form of armor. But again, we don't know exactly how strong the defense is up here. We'll move this. I think this was part of our wrecked cavalry battle group. Yeah, we'll move him back. We got to put these guys back in reserve because they're not going to do anything anymore. They just got completely destroyed. We'll bring this infantry up. Let's see. Bring this battle group here. This battle group here, and I'm going to click here. If you click this little menu toolbar option, it will show you when you hover over a unit, the other units that are part of its battalion. So, you know, these units, these 3 infantry battle groups all belong to each other as a part of these battalion headquarters. So, man, we're going to have to go ahead and attack them. I'd really like to be able to include this battle group in the attack, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. We could try to swing around down here. I'd like to try that. They're probably fairly weak in the rear, but we really don't have the units to do that. I'd like to give some support units to these 2 battle groups, but it doesn't look like there's really much support we can give them. All their slots are already full, and there's no armor option. So let's go ahead and try up north. And they're going to go ahead and actually counterattack us after our failed initial attack. And I feel confident that we can actually hold off this attack. Okay, so looking at our tactical map, actually you can see the black squares here. This is something to always be mindful of. I think a lot of Graviteam players aren't aware of this, and they think, oh man, I have to defend all 3 of these squares. No, you don't. You got 2 black squares here. This is the only square where the Wehrmacht is going to be able to take possession from us. Now, we could end up counterattacking and take this position, but judging by the amount of forces they had in this area in the previous turn, I doubt it. I'm just going to try to maintain a defensive position and hopefully give their troops some attrition. So, all right, so looking at this in this like shrubbery area, you can see it's actually there's some elevation to it right in these squares. So I really want to position some units here, and keep in mind this is the recon cavalry units that were just decimated in the last attack. Now, one thing I do like to do is when I'm setting up troops in deployment is I like to go in and manually look and see what the troops can see, because I know you have these guidelines, like you have the 2 bars here. Signifying the troops can see not really far, but kind of, and then like in this direction they have 3 bars, meaning they're supposed to see really far. It doesn't always hold true practically, so I like to go in and manually look. So like this squad right here has a really good field of view. They have pretty good cover in these shrubs, and that's just a good spot for them to be. And one advantage we do have in the setup is we have this mortar team. I set them up over here. I kept the mortars kind of as far back as I could. They're long-range mortars, and I have, I have the commander right here, and then I have a spotter here, and I have a spotter here. And if you go up to their position, you can see, look, that's a huge field of fire they have. So they can relay those signals back to the commander, who can then coordinate the mortar strike positions. And I can even set those positions manually if I want. I'm going to go ahead and make sure, and they already are, fire at will is off, and they're hidden, and they're in ambush mode. So basically, they're just going to try to remain hidden so they don't expose themselves, so they're not going to fire, and they're just going to act as pure spotters. So I'm going to go ahead and finish setting everyone else up. Okay, so here's our setup before the combat begins. I'm only worried about this square right here in the middle. The Wehrmacht can't take these two squares because of the black transparent squares. You remember those weighted forces in the previous engagement? It was like 330 to like 120 something. So we're obviously outnumbered here. It just depends on how hard the enemy tries to push. So I'm going to go ahead, and if you notice all these units are blinking, basically means that they're not going to fire at will, and I have them all hidden too. So they're all going to remain hidden. None of them are going to fire at will because I just want to get a good readout of the situation and see where the enemy is going to probe before he begins his main assault. I do have our mortar units over here, and they can fire at will, but they're only going to fire when they're spotters. You got one here, and again we have one here, and he had the good field of view, if you remember, when they call out orders to begin mortar fire. So let's go ahead and start this combat. We've got a little bit of a haze going on, and this is basically the main center point of our defense, and they're in pretty good position. They have some shrubbery covering them. The ground is a little bit raised. They can see pretty much as far as their rifle range would allow. Let's see what time it is. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Fog's going on. I'm pretty confident we're going to be able to hold this position. I know we're completely outnumbered. Oh, it depends on the artillery they have. Let's see if we can source where that's landing. Right by our mortars, which is exactly what we don't want. Our mortar, that support unit, is pivotal to our success, especially when we're so outnumbered. Hopefully they can weather the storm. So it's a pretty intense barrage, but so far we've been pretty fortunate. I think most of our mortar squads, let's see, have held up, and I think that might be the end of it. Looking around, nobody has seen anything yet. I'm just waiting for those first enemy probes cross over into our lines. Now, if it isn't a hard push, I'm not going to push a counterattack myself. I know we're heavily outnumbered right here. We got battered in the last assault that we attempted. I'm happy just holding this position for now because this is the southern portion of the map. We tried taking that key point. It didn't work out. We're going to go for the northern key point. And I'm not really concerned with this right now. I'm happy just holding our position. And our first troops have been spotted. We'll keep them hidden. Hopefully it's just a really small probing force. Not much bigger than a squad or a platoon because all we have in this area is a squad. Oh, and they've walked right up on us. Let's go ahead and fire at will. Pop out. Got the LMG. Looks like he's injured. He's still alive, but he's injured. I don't know if he'll get up or not. This guy's unloading with his PPSH. It looks like our injured Wehrmacht troop is crawling. He got up, but he's overwhelmed. So right now we just have light skirmishes going on. We're filling each other out. There's an LMG opening up that just took out 2 guys. Oh. So it looks like this might be a little more than a probing force. We might have a platoon advancing. There's a support weapon. We'll just wait the situation out and see what other troops we can find, what other information we can gather from this probe. I don't want to give up our mortars yet. I don't want to waste our ammunition yet. The probing troops are so sparse that they're not going to do much damage anyway. So we're going to hold those mortars for a main attack if a main attack does come. That platoon might be falling back. They probably just wanted to scout out our position. So far this is about what I would expect. And hopefully after this action, if nothing happens, we can go ahead and continue our main assault on the northern key point. And that's just a few meters off right there from hitting one of our main platoons. Okay, so there's still sporadic artillery bombardment, and as you can see up here, nothing's really developed, but there is some AT weaponry, and it looks like a bunch of Pack 40s. We have that tank platoon in reserve. I'd like to be able to move that tank platoon up next turn, bring them in as reinforcements from reserve. I'd like to take out those packs. Okay, so nothing's really developed so far. We still have sporadic bombardment, and it is giving our troops some attrition, but they're weathering it. It's not too heavy, it's not too intense. One thing we have noticed is that there are some AT weapons over here, and they're Pack 40s, which can deal some serious damage to tanks. If you remember, we had that tank platoon in reserve, on this side of the map for these recon units that we can bring up, and I don't want to bring that tank platoon into the fray until we take care of those AT units. So I'm going to go ahead and send a couple platoons to try and take care of that. Hopefully we don't run into too much infantry resistance, and it's just these AT weapons that we can take out. It's kind of risky, but I think it's worth it to be able to bring up our reserve tank platoon. So we'll go ahead and we'll take this company, the entire company, and we're going to go ahead and attack them. And there's the red flare to initiate the attack. And you can see the flames from the AT weapons shooting their HE rounds. If we don't run into infantry, I think we'll be able to take those AT weapons out. We'll be able to move that reserve tank platoon forward the next turn. Keep in mind we have those mortars in reserve. I'm not going to use them. It looks like there's no infantry thus far. So this company should be able to take them out. And the attack looks successful. We have some German troops surrendering, abandoning their AT weapons. So the attack looks like a success. Took out the AT weapons. Next turn, we're going to bring in those tanks. Alright, so for next time, we're going to go ahead and start our assault on this key point right here. And I have to believe we're going to have some success just because we have 2 fresh battle groups. And down here in the southern portion of the map, the forces for the Wehrmacht were so concentrated, I can't imagine them having too strong of a defense up here to the north, but you never know. Regardless, next turn we're going to have that reserve tank platoon come up, and we pretty much decimated their Pack 40s that were in the southern key point region, so things might be turning around for us. Stay tuned. Hey, I just wanted to thank you all for watching. I'm really enjoying the fun I'm having with this channel. I hope you're enjoying it as well. And if there's anything you'd like me to add content-wise, if you want me to go into reviews, if you prefer me doing these kind of Let's Play videos, or if you want me to go into doing things just discussing history, let me know. I'm open to all ideas. I'm trying to figure out what to do with the channel, so just let me know. Thanks for watching.